Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your friend, your mentor, Ratandeep Singh. So before we start the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I can see that many viewers haven't subscribed to my channel yet, so please subscribe it and hit a like on this video if you find my content useful. So in today's video, we are going to learn about another most commonly used React hook, which is useEffect hook. So useEffect hook is used to perform side effects in your components, like updating your DOM or performing an API call. So useEffect executes after your component renders, and there are three ways in which the useEffect function, the useEffect hook executes. So let's get into coding and find out. So I have a simple hello world program in my app.js file. Okay. So before importing useEffect, let's import useState. Okay. And let's set up a counter application here. So if you haven't seen my useState video yet, I suggest you watch it to have a better understanding on useState. I have explained it with use case that will help you at your workplace as well. So you can find the link in the description or on the card above. Okay. So let's create a state count and set count use state with an initial value of 0 and count over here. Let's have a button that says increment and an on click event with a callback function that increments count. So as I said, to have a better understanding on use state, just check the previous video that I uploaded on useState, so that you understand this part of the code. Okay, so let's save this. Let's increment. Yeah, so it's working. And let's import useEffect from React right now. Okay, so let's call useEffect. So useEffect, we must pass two arguments in the useEffect. The first argument is going to be the callback function, and second argument is going to be the dependency array. So I'll come back to it later. Dependency array. All right. So let's console it out, and let's say inside use effect. Okay. And let's console the count variable as well. Okay. Let's refresh. Okay, this is working. Okay, so what's happening here is that the count is consoled out first, and then when the component renders, when this UI renders, then the use effect executes. So that is what basically use effect does, right? Whenever the component renders, use effect is executed. So this is initialized and this is consoled and this is returned to the UI. After that, the use effect is executed. So no matter the console is at the top or at the bottom, okay, this count is going to be consoled out first. So count 0 and then the use effect is consoled out. Okay, so when I increment it, this is consoled out again, which means when I increment it, uh, this the state is changed over here. So whenever the state changes, the component re-renders, and when the component renders and returns this, the use effect executes. So that is what is happening over here. Okay, so let's do another thing in which I'll increment the count inside of the use effect. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Okay, so this is what is happening right now, and this is wrong, right? So let's comment this out. And if you see here, it's showing us the warning. The UI isn't breaking, but it's showing us the warning saying the maximum update depth exceeded. Okay, let me copy this and paste it over here. Okay, and let's comment this out. So this says that this can happen when a component calls set state inside useEffect. So yes, that's what happened over here. But useEffect either doesn't have a dependency array. Yes. So in this case, we don't have a dependency array. Okay. So that's why it's happening here. Or one of the dependency changes on every render. Okay. Let's say I'm having a dependency array of count only, and let's have this. Okay. So it's still showing us, it's still creating an infinite loop over here. So in now this case is true, right? Like we are calling the set state inside useEffect, and one of the dependencies changes on every render. So when the component is rendered, useEffect is executed, and this state is changed. Okay, and then again the component is rendered. This useEffect executes because the count is changed. One of the dependency changes on every render. So this is the dependency that is changing on every render, right? So whenever the count changes now, the use effect executes. So that is what it means. Okay. In this case, the use effect executes on every render, but in this case, the use effect executes whenever the count changes. Okay. So it's directly visible that count is always changing, because on every render use effect executes, and every time the use effect executes, the count is changed. Since the count is changed, on next render the use effect will execute again, right? So let's remove this, and this is the third way in which we can use the use effect with an empty array. So empty array simply means that the use effect will run only once. Okay, if you see over here, the use effect executed just once. This console is like outside the use effect, right? If you have console, let's say inside use effect, okay, and let's refresh it. So it's shown once, and every time the state changes, the use effect doesn't execute now. Okay, so these are the three ways that use effect executes. One is when no uh, dependencies are given as the second argument. Uh, so in that case, use effect executes on every render, and with empty array, it executes only the first time. Okay, and okay, this one is shown because when the first time use effect, okay, the first time count is 0, so this is console out, and the first time when use effect executes, so this set count becomes 1, yeah, and the component is rendered again. So at that time this 1 is shown. Okay, and the is when third time is when you are giving any dependencies to the use effect. So this dependency can be a prop or a state. So in this case, it's a state. Prop is nothing but whenever the parent send any prop, even that can be given in the dependency array. Okay. So let me show you another example of dependency array in which you will have an idea how that works. So instead of increment, okay, before that let's just delete it. Let's delete this one. Let's delete this console. Okay, let's have another state that says toggle set toggle. Okay, and initially let's say it's false. Yeah, and let's say that every time the toggle changes, count must be increased. Okay, and let's have toggle here, and let's set toggle to not of toggle. That means if the toggle was previously was false, now it would be set to true, and if it was true, it would be set to false. Okay, so as I said in the use state session, that if the state change depends on the previous state, it's better we use the updater function. Okay, so it would do the same thing as well, but there is a difference. So for that, I would suggest you watch my use state video. I'll put the link in the description or on the above card on the top right corner. Okay, so that would really help you a lot in the future. So let's save this. And okay, okay, so I haven't used that toggle anywhere, right? So if I want to do any JavaScript operation conditions inside of the JSX in the return statement, I have to do it within the curly brackets, right? So let's give toggle. So if this is true, the h1 would be shown, and if this is false, it won't show the h1. Okay, so initially it's false. Let's refresh. Okay, so since initially it was false, the hello world is not shown, and when I click on toggle, it's true and it's shown. And simultaneously, if you would notice, the count is increasing as well. So what's happening here is that when I click on toggle, okay, so this is getting set to true. Okay, when it is true, the hello world is shown in the UI, and at the same time, uh, here the set state happens and the component renders with a new toggle value, right? So after the component renders, this use effect is executed true. So at that time, the count is incremented. So same, the next time when it is false, again the count is incremented. Okay. So this is what happens. So instead of, let's say, putting and, let's do a ternary operation. Let's say if it is true, it should be hello world, and if it is, I'm sorry, if it is false, let's say hi world. Okay, okay, so that is toggling as well. Yeah, so yeah, so this is everything you need to know regarding use effect. So these are the three ways in which you can execute use effect, and in which you can use effect in your coding. So if you guys want me to make another video in which you want me to explain how to perform an API call inside the use effect and how to use that data, that response in our program, please comment it out, and I will make a part 2 of it. So this is it, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot.